Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. Alright, so we are going to start here with the weekly charts, then we are going to go over the daily charts, then we could take a look at the hourly charts and see what's going on the smaller time frames. So starting here with QQ's weekly chart, I'm going to point out you did have a shooting star candlestick last week along with what was seen on SPY. We'll talk about that in a sec. But I want to point out where you are right now. You do have this little resistance going on right here. All right, this was structure that has already been filled on the chart. What structure is left open is all the way up here and then all-time highs. So let me just turn that on, and I want to point out, understand there's a lot of these lines. Don't even focus on this stuff because, market still wants to be bid up. We're going to focus on what is on the upside here. What do we have? If you do end up breaking over the 389 to 390 supply zone that we do have right here, which did end up slamming us down pretty harshly over here for what, a 3% pullback, 3.5% pullback. If you do wind up breaking that, you have no resistance till all the way up here to the all-time high supply zone, which is around 404.50. So that is what we will be watching for if you do end up breaking 390 this week. Only if you break 390. Possibilities for this week is that we come up here and double top, and then you come back down, and maybe we stay range bound for a little bit, or you end up breaking underneath 374.33, which would open up the door to a new downtrend forming, and then that would very likely bring us to 368.63. Again, if you do break them up 390, you have no resistance for, what was that, 15 bucks, 14 bucks right there. That is what I would be focusing on. I don't think risk to reward right now is there to be playing long or short. What you can do is you could be taking these shorter term trades right here, and you could do something like this. Let me just like that. Let's say you get pop back up here. Maybe put your stop somewhere underneath this little zone right here, but that does offer that is a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And if you do end up breaking above 384.71, you likely end up coming back up to Wednesday's high, which was FOMC before you got slammed down. So I'm just pointing out you could take these short-term trades, but I don't think this is a swingers market here unless you start getting confirmation that you are breaking above the supply zone with a daily close, and then you have all of this upside to play. Do I think this happens without a pullback? I'm going to still say it's unlikely, but this market clear as day wants to be bought up, and I don't think it is wise to be going against that. That is just my personal opinion. Now, what else could you do? You could play the patient game, and you can wait to take your short position with a break underneath this level, because if you do end up not coming back up and making new high, but you come back down here and take out this low at 374.33, that is when you open the door to your downtrend, and you do have this setup to be playing. Again, decent risk to reward playing that downside setup as well. What do these both have in common? You have to play the waiting game. All right, I think you're probably going to get this long opportunity before we have the chance of seeing that, but that is just what I see when I look at the charts right now. And again, $14 of upside if you just play the waiting game and wait to see if 390 is going to be broken. Now let's come over here to SPY. We're going to start here on the weekly time frame. I'm going to clear up all of this mess. I want to point out you have one resistance point right here on the weekly time frame of 462. What comes after 462? All-time highs. All right, so we can turn that back on, and what we can do is we can make our little zone right here. Go a little like that, and let's see. If you do end up breaking above 462, what do you have over here? Another $14 to go until any resistance. Yes, any resistance. There's nothing in the way here. So you very much so can get a short squeeze going from here to here. Because if you do pop your head up here, I guarantee that is where a lot of people, a lot of big dogs, a lot of just small dogs as well, are going to end up placing their stops above 462 if you're trying to short the supply zone. Which I'm going to point out the same thing that I pointed out in a earlier video this week at the start of the week. More time we spend up here, right under or in this supply zone, the more sell orders will be eaten up. And if the sell orders disappear, that is when you have a recipe for going straight up. Now let me come down here to the hourly time frame. Let me show you these two short-term trade setups that I see on the chart as we speak right now. So you're in this little range right here. What you want to be waiting for is a break underneath 455.16. This is right. Yeah, 455.16. And that was this low over here. And if you do break under there, that is when you were looking for a situation like that. And there you go. You have your decent risk reward there. What happens up here? If you do end up breaking above 450.78, which was the high over here of this candlestick, the decision candlestick before you had this, big red one, that is when you have a clear path to up here to 459.44. Now, again, I do think upside is limited until you end up breaking 462. That is your upside, 462, until you break it. And then you have a clear as day shot all the way up here. All right. Which I don't, you probably have some sellers sitting around here, 472, 473. We'll draw this supply zone as well. I just don't want to clutter up the chart too much. But we can add this just to make it a pretty picture, eh? All right. So right here, what do you have? Literally $10 till the next resistance. And like, even at that, it is a rather weak resistance. So, but it is structure left open on the chart. So we probably do get some sellers there, but same thing is going to apply as right here. The more time you spend up there, yeah, the more sell orders are going to be eaten up. The more times you test these things, it's just, you're going to create, a balance. All right, it goes from imbalance. It was a sell imbalance, and it's as we speak. All right, market just keeps wanting to test it. So if we don't see it continuously get slammed down here, I mean, hey, there's a chance you just have a slow grind through here. Last thing I want to point out is over here on IWM. IWM does have this decreasing there we go, decreasing weekly volume. This whole rip has been off of decreasing weekly volume right there. I'm just going to point out some other times where you've gone up with that decreasing volume right here. All right. Went out right there. When you went up here. You had this one right here when you went up there. You had this right here. You start making your way up there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. All right. So other than this and QQQ's weekly bearish divergence that we have spoke about right here, which, just keep in mind, this is just an exhaustion sign. This is your warning sign that it can have a decent sized pullback at some point. Does not tell us when that's going to happen, as you see. All right, market wants to go up. That is just, something that's taken place. So other than those two things, this decreasing volume here, right there, and then the QQQ weekly bearish divergence, I don't see any bearish things on this chart. And like, if you just open up down here and you close here, you would have a bullish engulfing candlestick after the shooting star candlestick on your hand. Let's come over to Apple. So this is something that was making me pretty bearish last week, coming into this week. And guess what, guys? Market still wants to be bid up. If you do close above this candlestick, all right, the high is 198.23. That is when you invalidate this candlestick as a whole. Let's actually come over here back to QQQ. I think I marked it out. Yeah. All right, so this was the last time that I see a shooting star. I guess you had a version of it right here. You also had one right here. So let's just mark these out. So you had one right there, one right there, one right there. What happened? They all got engulfed. The next candlestick was a bullish candlestick. What happened after that? You kept going up. The market is in a short squeeze mode right now, and I'm sure there are so many people trying to short the market before they have confirmation of it. And, it's just going to result in a continued short squeeze. And you guys know the levels we're watching above 390. All right, 404. That is what you will be looking at. And that is very, very likely what I would be playing up there. Does not matter what this bad boy over here is doing. I understand you have these divergences. Charts don't care right now. Or at least not the charts don't care. The market participants don't care right now. But what I will say is I do think a big player sold over here. You can see on SPY. I don't think someone just sold and, bought back their position the following day. I don't think that's what went down over here. I really don't. What I think happened is someone got scared out of the market here, a big player or a few big players, and then people on the sidelines that maybe missed this, all right, they bought it back up. and you had a recipe for a short squeeze. I did mention in my Weeble update on Thursday. Now, given there wasn't really a chance to play this thing, um, you actually did you actually come down to 452.47 intraday? Let's just look at that. No, you didn't. I don't know why it's saying that. Because you didn't. That is a ghost wick right there. Don't this wick right here we're seeing doesn't exist. So that is the thing. This doesn't exist. I don't know why it literally didn't come down to 452.60. So I don't know why that is there. You had a big fat nasty gap up. What I think that was just a short squeeze. But what I did mention in Thursday's update is that you did come right down to support. This is what you need to break. You need to a break under 452.17. I think that's the low of this. Or not the low, the close was 452.18, so I got it from this one. All right, 452.17 was the low in this candlestick, so that's where that level comes from. What you need to see is the daily close underneath there, and you want to break right here the low of 451.44, and you would have confirmation that you are in a, on the smaller time frames, you would have had the start of a downtrend forming, and what would have needed to follow there would have been break under there and then lower high. You would have your lower low, you'd have the lower high. So a different story than we have over on QQQ, which I do think QQ is going to be leading the way. We've seen it do it the whole time over these last few months. SPY is just, caught up, played catch up here. But yeah, that's really what you needed to see, confirmation that you're likely going a little bit lower. And I did mention the Weeble update that if you wanted to take a solid risk to reward long, that would have been the spot to do it. Now, did you get the opportunity the next day? No, you had a filthy gap up. So that was the thing. You would have had to do it while everyone and their mother was just being scared of the market here. So that was scary times, guys, scary times. But, you got to stay objective. And, that's something I struggled with this week. That's why I'm choosing until we see confirmation of one way or the other on the indices. I'm just not going to be trading the indices. I will be sticking to individual tickers. I think that's a solid idea. I think, that is probably the best scenario unless you are a short-term trader, like a day trader or a scalper. I don't think there's much risk reward that's being offered in this market until we break above 462, or over here we start breaking under 452.17, and then that would mean we would likely be coming down to 450. But you ultimately have to break underneath 448.50 to have this on the table altogether. So I would be focusing on QQQ. I think this is where the solid risk reward lies. You have a more solid setups here. All right, guys. So with that being said, I will actually flash some of these weekly charts, and they just look so bullish to me. All right, they really do. All right, you see Goog. This is not a candlestick that looks bearish to me. All right, and let's actually look at the monthly charts as well. Does this look bearish? That, indecision right there, all right? But, there's that. I'll give it to you there, all right? Bearish candlestick on the monthly time frame on Microsoft right there. That is a thing. Wait, actually, yeah, we are going to, I think we have the 31st is going to be Monday. So that's the last day. And then we'll take a look at all these monthly charts. So be expecting that in Monday's video. Monday and Tuesday, we will take a look at the finished monthly candlesticks. So, come along, join the community if you are new here. I would love to have you. And yeah, meta right here. Does this look bearish to you? No, it looks like a continuation candle. This, this is debatable right there. You have this indecision candlestick. So there's that. But on the weekly charts, guys, I'm just going to point out, nothing looks bearish to me. Microsoft, I think, is debatable. Yeah, Microsoft is debatable. Nothing else really stands out to me here on these big boys. Amazon, you got a hammer candlestick to form out to close out the week. You got almost a bullish engulfing candlestick, but you definitely got a bullish continuation candlestick here. We can see a few occurrences of this. Maybe you get this pullback, but after these big candlesticks, you get the pullback and then you go on your way. Microsoft is the only one, it still got bought up though, but you just got an indecision candlestick, and then you come over to Goog, this kind. It looks like a monster on Goog. You have this gap resistance here, a weekly gap. So this is probably actually going to be strong. Let's mark this out. What was that? The low of this candlestick is 133.75. So let's type that in. All right, let's make this green. If you are new here, I do color code all my things. The red lines are resistance and support levels. The green lines are going to be your gap fills. Why did that do that? The low was 133. Oh, I typed in 134. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, guys. Yes, it does. All right, right there. So that is probably, oh, look, wow. That is exactly where you stalled out twice. I wish I had that on my chart. Regardless, after that gap fill, guys, you don't have any resistance up until this next gap fill, which is going to be up at, is that 140.94. So let's put that on the chart as well. All right. Make you green as well. And that's a ways to go. And you pair that with this, bullish falling wedge breakout. I did point out on the channel here, you did get the break and retest. My apologies. You got the break and retest of this bullish formation here, this consolidation pattern. And now you broke above the high. That would have been your second target here of, if we were to put targets on it, it would have been right here at the top, 129.55, but you broke above it. You got support on that. You come down to the hourly chart and you could see that. You bounced off it and you went to the next level. So nothing really looks too bearish to me. All right. Things got a really big pullback. I could show you daily, the daily trend line here on Amazon that ended up holding from that touch point to that one. Literally is where you bottomed, and then you had a pretty filthy rip from where that, if you took advantage. That was one that I was watching. I was specifically watching for this opportunity down here to come by its support. I again, like, hey, I did not stay objective with this one. I cannot say I did. But this would have been the perfect buying opportunity, and it was definitely on my list for the week. Once we started breaking down on Monday, I was like, I'm gonna wait and buy down here. I completely forgot to buy down there. So, all right, I will wish you guys a lovely rest of your weekend, and I hope next week is good for all. And I will catch you on Monday. Peace.